Hey YouTube, it's Untitled Reptiles, and today's going to be a fun day because we are going to do a little bit of feeding. I know I'm out of my normal uniform. This is kind of an unplanned video. We have rats here, we have snakes here, and Kurt said, hey, do you want to film something? And I said, yeah, I do. So we decided that today we would film an attempt to feed both of our BITIS, and we'll talk about the differences in feeding. Now, I'll be real honest, I'm going to be blunt. I think one of them's going to eat right in front of you, and I think the other one probably won't. So, yeah, that's just that. And that's because one of them is so new and so young, I don't think it's going to be really ready to eat in front of people yet. But the first one will. Now, I've already removed the safety devices on the cage, and we are going to grab a meal for this. We'll go with, like, this guy be perfect. We do feed live. We feed everything live, so it's kind of normal for us. Now, this is a fairly small meal for this snake. This is our West African Gaboon Viper. So it's a BITIS gabonica or rhinoceros, if you want to get really technical, because there's a BITIS gabonica too. The differences in the west and the east, in case you're curious, because there is a west and east and they are different, very closely related but not the same, is the West African, which is what this is, has some small horns, small nasal protrusions that you can see. The East Africans, they're there, but they're way, way smaller. And then if you look at this eye stripe, there's no break in it. The East African basically has the same eye stripe as, sorry, the rat's crawling at me, as the West African, and then another eye stripe. So you get stripe, normal color stripe underneath its eye, as opposed to the West, which just has the one stripe coming back at that angle from the eye. So that is the visual differences on the two. We'll unlock it. Now that thing is tuned up right now. It knows something's coming. So I'll open the whole thing for you just to give you a little bit better view in there. I usually don't do that. And then we'll toss the food in from a safe distance. Bloop. And we'll see what happens. To speed things up, we may do a little bit of steering of the rat. Come on. Go that way. Go that way. Don't go that way. There it is. Well, you'd probably pee too if that happened to you. Not to make light of it, but these things do levitate their food. This is very, very normal behavior for what a Gaboon Viper does. This venom is going to be very quick acting. It's going to die quicker than it would from constriction, 9 times out of 10. You'll still see a lot of twitching and everything else, but it will be fast. The reason we do live is that's what we started on, and it's much easier for us, to be honest. So there's several reasons why. You can see the snake, no scars, no injuries, face is perfect. They don't get necessarily hurt by that. I'll show you something really cool. What thing's mouth is filled. Just the other day, I found, in cleaning the cage, my first Gaboon shed Fang out of this. So you can see that Fang, 2 of those, probably a slightly larger actually because this one was shed and that's usually through growth, is going into that rat right now, pumping the venom. You're going to see it kicking and moving for longer than it's actually alive. Part of that's just going to be nerves. So anyway, that is BITIS gaboon. And I'll let Kurt have a moment to show you. I want you to pay close attention on the snake to the colors along its back, the pattern, the hourglass, everything, how broken up it is, how beautiful it is. These are very, very gorgeous snakes. You almost get that kind of purplish gray. There's that greenish yellow on the top of its back. Those 2 colors don't usually go together, but yeah, here they are. Really, really awesome animals. And then when we go look at the Rhino Viper, which is closely related to these, okay, I want you to pay attention to the difference in colors there. They should feed the same way. However, I do not think our Rhino is going to choose to eat in front of people, but we'll give it a shot. And that's another reason why I do like live food. If I use frozen thawed, I have to stick my hand in there and dangle it, and I can do that. You're going to see me do it in a minute. But if a snake doesn't eat a live food item, it's cool. I just pull it out, put it back in the collection. If a snake, I drop my hook, doesn't eat a frozen thawed item, I throw it in the garbage. When I throw a frozen thawed item in the garbage, that means that life died for literally nothing. That's very rare with a live rodent, so there's less waste. And who wants waste? You know, that's terrible. So over here, did I put I did. Security devices back on, just double checking. Over here, what we've got is our Rhino Viper. You can see it's hiding back there. I'll go ahead and remove the top. And again, somebody's going to say, oh my God, they're not locked. This house is locked. This house is not lived in. It's just my animals. And the door to this room is also locked. So there's literally 2 locks just to get in here. So they are secured. So you can really see the colors of this little guy now. Now this snake has eaten for me 1 time. And it did it not in my view. It did it after hours, so to speak, and probably will again. But we're going to try it again. We'll bring a little bit of a food item, see if we can get some interest. That does not look very interesting. I am getting so many flies in here today. So when it doesn't want to eat like that, what we'll do, we'll put that in there. I kind of have made a little indentation. And the hope is it can't get out of there very easy. But they're better at that than I give them credit for, as you can see. To kind of keep it in the same spot, make it a little bit easier for the snake to find. And that's what we're going to go with. Now that snake is kind of in hiding, so you're not going to be able to see it really well. And I'm not going to pull out to disturb it, but you're going to see a lot of similar patterning on this BITIS to what you saw on the Gaboon. The head will be different, obviously, and then the colors are vastly different. So, really cool animal. I'm really excited to have it. Didn't think it was going to eat in front of us because we're in the process of this one adjusting to here. Turn the light off, give it some darkness. That usually helps these guys too. And most likely, if it's going to eat, it'll do it in the next couple of days. So we'll let that rat stay in there with it. It's not going to hurt it. And hopefully we get a feed. Yes, that is a mouse. Sorry, Kurt, you're right. I'm just saying rat. This one is a pinky mouse. So pretty new, young mouse. And that is what we use to feed these, along with the brand new carpet pythons as well. So, Kurt, any questions about the BITIS?
No.
All right. One thing about these, they get way longer nasal horns. So what we didn't see here, really quick, is, well, no, we haven't missed it yet. So this thing will probably rotate that rodent around and eat it head first. Sometimes it eats it butt first. We do go with small meals on these guys on purpose. So hopefully, though, you'll get to see that in a second, because we're still getting a little bit of twitching, but there's nothing really. That rat's done. There it goes. So it'll actually use its fangs to spin this prey item around, which is really cool. Now, I have seen one eat like a taco, where it just bit it in half and swallowed it, but that is unusual. So we'll get the chance to see this, which is really kind of, I think, really cool. It's a really interesting behavior. You don't see this from ball pythons. Since they don't crawl real fast on land, and they also don't like to give up their favorite spots if they're in one, that's why they kind of hold their prey, lift it off the ground so there's really no fight, and then never set it back down. Whereas most venomous snakes, like your rattlesnakes, bite it, and the prey runs off, and the snake tracks it down and eats. Although I have seen rattlesnakes hold too. It's just a very different behavior. You'll keep working it there, Lilith? There you go. Now, you saw her just shaking a little bit. There could be a chance she's about to shed another fang. Like I say, I found one, I didn't find two, so it wouldn't be a surprise if another one was close to growing out. And I may have just not found it, because often they will pass them in fecal matter. And I am not so crazy. That stupid fly. I hate these flies in here. I got to get something to kill all them off. To dig through the fecal matter to find a fang. People do. If you want to do it, you can. You simply put it in some kind of sifter and wet it down and turn it to liquid poo and let it strain through until you find a fang. Good luck. I'm not doing it. That's disgusting. But when I find them loose, I will collect them. So now we got it partially rotated around, and it'll just go into a normal swallow like every other animal when it gets it lined up. Maybe taking a break. Apparently it's taking a break. It's camera shy. Yeah, as soon as Kurt turns the camera, it's like, I'll work now. All right, guys. You got to see the cool part, so we'll go ahead and cut this here unless Kurt has anything else he wants to ask.
No.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching again. We were feeding our two BITIS species, which some of my favorite animals I got. So we'll catch you next time.